Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Under Fractured Sky. This one is going to be a bit of a retread of things. Sadly, the episode where these events happened got deleted somehow, so we are just going to rejoin our heroes back towards the end of episode 2, where they had just met Balathor Bolton Blount in the tomb, and were about to discuss why they had been called together. And we ended on a cliffhanger where Balathor Bolton Blount was about to have Tasha's hideous laughter cast upon him by Eye of the Forest. And, um, oh, excuse me. About to have that cast on him, and Forrest had screamed out, "Everybody, we can't trust this guy." Um, so without further ado, let us begin and pick up where we had left off for then. So, everybody, Forrest had just tried to cast Tasha's hideous laughter upon this man, who had called you all together and who had revealed a strange marking on his arm. Um, so, Forrest had told everybody to take a defensive position and be ready to off this guy. So, let us begin. Oh, we got some door action in the background.
Sorry.
No worries. And shit, I just broke my headphones.
Oh shit.
No worries there. This is just the cheap, shitty dollar store ones. So no worries there. Yeah, even though this isn't live, folks, this is going to be treated like a live recording. Anyway, so Dragon, I do believe that our boy Uznar was about to attack this man for.
I was more. No, I was taking. No, I was on the lines of getting, getting ready to, getting ready to attack, not actually making any movements.
Okay. All right. So Forrest had tried to cast hideous laughter upon Balathor Bolton Blount, which did not succeed, and Balathor just gives a chuckle. All right, all right. Settle down. I know that this was quite a shock for you to see. Trust me, I'm on your side.
And how exactly are we to know that when you have such a symbol on your hand?
Well, I do suppose that having a cautious mind in this endeavor won't exactly be out of place. And honestly, the fact that I have trained mercenaries that could kill you with a snap of their fingers, who brought you here, yet I did not actually kill you with them, and now you're just here with me, a dwarf with a limp. Um, I would like to say I'm putting a lot of trust out there for you to not kill me. I would like to see that trust returned.
Forrest is going to look at him for a second and then say, "It is true, you probably could have had them kill us at any moment, but that does not mean that you are trustworthy. You let us down here with an undead knoll in the corner.
The undead
It is
knoll. Oh, sorry, DM moment. The undead knoll being, of course, Wrathbone the Silent, who's actually very cheerful for an undead creature. He just gives a thumbs up. He's just standing in the corner, smiling. You don't know. Most of his face is missing.
So if I may speak,
Go ahead.
it's like Nova stands up. I I believe I know who the knoll is, and I suspect that I know who this man is. He uh, he is the reason that I am here alive today in front of you. I do not think he would. I do not think he would harm us. I
And
don't think anyway.
and just to make sure that everybody who's watching this can see it. Here's why is it so small? Um, well, there's some pictures of Rathbone the Silent and Balathor Bolton Blount. So yes, um, Nova just gave a small but valuable impassioned plea, vouching for these two people. So I want to see what everybody else thinks.
Forrest is lowers her guard a little bit.
Jack is over on the side of the wall. He hasn't really reacted much aside from just watching.
Ira doesn't visibly react. What's the spell away that she was getting ready to cast?
Okay. Holly, do you want to do anything?
Fourth.
What was that?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Can now. Yep.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Holly looks back and forth between Bolton Blount and Rathbone, and then back again, and then just gives Rathbone a double thumbs up and shrugs her shoulders because she's here for that.
Okay. Rathbone at that is very excited. He claps his gauntlets together, they make a clank, and then he does a double thumbs up himself. And then Blount chimes in, Rathbone, please. This is very serious. And Rathbone is he goes into serious mode and puts his hands behind his back and stands at attention like a good soldier. Right then. Well, I would love to explain more about why you're here, what this whole situation is about, and what objects you were given to bring here. However, before we do that, I need to make sure this room is secure. And that's when he pulls out of his pocket a what looks to be at first a black silk handkerchief, and he lays it on the table, or rather, the crypt that Rathbone was supposed to be resting in. It's being used as a conference table. He lays it on the table, and it appears to be an endless hole of some variety about the circumference of a about the circumference of a basketball. Anybody who still has these objects, these black metal objects, any object that has a strange radiating aura to it, please place it within the hole now. And it's at that point that he produces some of the objects that had already been turned in to his subordinates and drops them into the hole.
Forrest will take out the pocket watch, I believe it was.
Yep.
And she will drop that into the hole.
I
I
believe
think I've already given over the inkwell and pen at this point. I gave it to Renges, didn't I?
I forgot. Was that the object that I gave you to turn in? I forgot.
Yeah, it was like a pen and inkwell and I got it off like the back of a wagon. I think I gave her. If not, then Holly drops hers into.
Okay, well
I think I specifically remember Ren just like confiscating it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Jacques, did you still have
Yeah, he still has it. He's a little hesitant, but he remembers something from back home, and from the little golden like locket token he had got back when his clan got wiped out. But he wanders over to Blount, and he takes out the black flask and a little silk white handkerchief, and he says in Dwarvish, "Strength for the future draws deep from my history," and then drops in the flask, holds out this white silk handkerchief with golden embroidery, and with the initials BBB on it, and goes back to speaking in common tongue. I believe this is yours.
May we all keep strong in the future, which is, he says in Dwarvish, which you know from just basic knowledge that that's like the common response to that motto. It's kind of a call and response kind of thing. And he takes the handkerchief and he nods to you, gratefully.
He just nods back, and then he goes back to his little side of the wall.
And I believe, Avne, did you still have your object?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He so Blount looks to you.
Oh, fun. Avney's just been silent and stoic that whole time, just staring at the parcel.
I understand that you had a delivery to make here today, Mr. Or apologies, it's not right for me to assume. I believe, Paladin, that you have something that you were to deliver to this place.
Not exactly to you. By no offense, of course.
Oh, of course. What is the name of the person that you were supposed to deliver that to?
Shit, what was that name again? Hang on, I have it in my notes.
I can whisper it to you if you need it.
Good. Where is it? Yeah, where is it?
I'm typing it in the chat.
I know I have it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do it all caps. That's not yelling. It was stuck in all caps.
No, you're all good. Okay, I just remembered it. Yep, there it is. It was. It was to a Fletcher Montrose, sir.
And tell me, dear Paladin, what were the circumstances of this delivery?
Well, a villager woman asked me to go to Baythery and deliver the parcel to Mr. Montrose, albeit poorly. That's basic. That's pretty much all I was asked to do, and that is what I came here for.
Hmm. Did this
So
one? Hmm. Well, I definitely commend you for being a reliable courier for today. Let me tell you about Fletcher Montrose. About 80 years ago, a rogue faction of the clergy of Amtare, which, okay, out of character, all of you know that to be the god of war. Rogue faction of the god of war, Amtare, had seized Fletcher. Has seized Fletcher from his home here in Baythery and slayed his mother while she had tried to defend him. And they brought him to the middle of the woods. And in a horrifying ritual, they slit him from throat to navel and bled him dry as if he was livestock. If you were to go up top right now, where the cemetery is, you would find his grave adorned with several roses that myself and members of my party, or members of my, I guess you could call us a party, organization. That sounds more official. Members of my organization place on his grave at every meeting. We are the Montrose Association. Name drop.
Hey. So what am I supposed to do with this then? I cannot give it to a dead man.
Dead child, but sure. because you cannot give it to the young man who was just so horribly mutilated and bled dry. I suggest that you deliver it to the abyss, to this black hole. Not the literal abyss, just in terms of a black hole. Sorry, I was trying to be dramatic. But you're more than able to pay your respects at his grave once our meeting is through.
Of course. Of course. By the gods, I hope you're right. And they'll drop it in. Very reluctantly, though.
Okay, and with that, I do believe everybody has turned in their cursed objects. Just out of character.
I
Believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Waver had already handed hers over to the big boob bird.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're gonna say everybody turn them in, just for the sake of ease, because we're going back like a month and a half in episodes here. So everybody turned in their objects, and that's at that point that Balathor Bolton Blount takes his seat at the head of the crypt, head of the tomb or sarcophagus. That's the word I'm looking for. The sarcophagus. All right. So now that that's taken care of, and he reaches out to fold the portable hole back into a pocket size thing, and he puts it back in his pouch. So, as I mentioned, we are the Montrose Association. We were formed 50 years ago after we discovered a rogue faction within the clergy of Amtare that is dedicating itself to lead to the ruin of Amtare and subvert him with I struggle to say God, but certainly an entity that dwells at the center of this planet. And he just kind of looks around with a very stern and serious face on. What's Uznar doing?
Usnar's just Usnar's just standing at the back against the wall, Just wait, was this the bit when I started laughing, or I just damn it?
I mean, it's okay if you don't remember. We're kind of playing this as new, and being a little revisionist. So I just recall something going on. So I just wanted to. I'm diverting significantly from where I was last time. So yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about. Usnar's just standing against the back against the wall. Then
You there, Tabaxi woman.
Yes.
What was your name?
Eye of the Forest.
Is that what you call yourself now, or is that what you always have been known as?
Forrest just looks very uncomfortable and says, "It is the names that I know now. But I also know that it was not my name before."
The reason I showed you my mark is because you have that same mark upon you. In fact, if you weren't covered in fur, you would be able to see it.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Basically, he just said that the reason he showed you his mark is because he knows that you have a mark that you yourself may not be aware of just yet. And he was hoping to kind of like show you that he could be trusted by showing that he had a similar mark from a similar experience.
Did he he did say that Forrest probably has such a mark, yes?
He just did, yes.
Okay. Forrest is going to look at him oddly and then look at her arms without moving any of the fur. Just kind of look at them.
May I show you?
She'll hold out her arms.
Without even searching, he places his finger on a spot on your left forearm and just puts his middle finger alongside it, spreads the fur, and there it is. And just to show everybody at home what that symbol is, come here, you.
Creepy. But I love it so much.
This is the symbol of what dwells beneath.
Forrest lets out this, like, tiny little eep, almost, and just begins scratching at her arm, like she's trying, not digging in yet,
But trying to
just,
remove it.
yeah.
Trust me that this does not come off.
She doesn't hear him.
What is she doing?
I don't want to alarm you, Mr. Paladin, but the mark I showed earlier also appears on her arm.
And what marking is that?
He looks to Forrest, noticing that there's a bit of a panic going on in her right now just from seeing it on herself, and also remembering what happened when he showed his own mark earlier. It's probably for the best that I do not show this mark now, but you will know it when you see it, because this, amongst many other things, gives this entity power every time it's viewed by the eyes of another.
Very well then.
The less people know of it, the less it exists.
Precisely.
She's still scratching away at her arm.
The nature of gods is all about the mortals that follow them, worship them, help raise them up by their own collective power. Should this entity become successful in its aims to supplant a god that exists, then there'll be no hope for this world. We'll be driven into chaos, if not outright destroyed. I dare not even speak its name.
Very well then.
So, where does that leave us?
You have been conscripted into the Montrose Association, whether you like it or not.
Osten sighs.
The gods have chosen you and set you on this path in their own special ways to prevent this from happening.
Whatever I can do against it, I will do. I already intended as much anyway.
Very good. The Montrose Association is at your disposal. You there, Mr. Knoll.
I'm sorry. Just, processing the whole fact that, being conscripted against my will into an organization I just only heard about, and now I am forced to work for. Just processing that at the moment.
I appreciate the processing.
How much of a choice do I have in this matter?
I'm going to say this. The gods have their ways of diverting us onto their own paths, no matter how hard we fight back.
At this point, Usna pushes off the wall and just walks up close to Balfour so he can whisper in his ear, whisper in his ear. Look, look, we got a brother, I've got a family back home in Sharp Sword. You, if I do this, will you look after them for me?
Without hesitation, they will want for nothing.
Amen. Walks back over to the wall.
You there, half orc, I believe, or am I presuming too much?
No.
What are your thoughts?
Well, considering who set me on this task, I can't say I'm terribly surprised. I knew there had to be some catch.
Hmm. And this, I must say, I am surprised that you are here, cleric of Samusora.
The only reason I'm here is because they won't let me leave.
That's correct. However, the fact that you were called upon by whom was the clergy member that you stumbled upon in the forest? Who was that for?
There was,
I'll whisper it in the chat.
I think he was. I think he was a priest of Kindram. I couldn't exactly tell. I was more concerned he had a gun to my head.
Yes. Okay, so you were set on this path by Kendram. Very odd that your patron deity did not involve herself in this, but at the same time, not surprising either.
Okay.
So, are there any further objections, any questions on joining the Montrose Association?
Is it not at all possible to get that maybe there was a mistake? That maybe someone else was supposed to be in my place?
It's certainly possible that your call was intended for someone else at first, but at some point they had failed, and the task fell upon to you.
But then that would have been my mother.
Come again?
Then that would have been my mother.
Your mother.
Yes,
Oh shit! I'm so sorry. For a second I thought it was Miyoko talking. I am so sorry.
Megaton.
Oh my god. Okay, so now that I realize it's Nova, I'm sorry. Continue. Oh yes. Yes, Isolde. Yes. Your mother,
So then you did know her.
she was a member of this association years ago.
So, I would like to say, for both me and my mother, I would just like to say thank you for what you have done.
He nods respectfully, as if to say you're welcome, but he doesn't voice it.
And for the honor of the umbrella name, I shall accept this quest.
Very good. Well then, without further ado, unless there are further exceptions to this? Further comments, concerns? No? Wonderful. I wish my own board meetings went so smoothly. So, let me tell you what your first tasks are going to be. The first thing is this parcel. And from his pouch, he pulls another pouch that is seemingly larger than the pouch he pulled it from. It's about the size of a football or like a watermelon, something similarly oblong in shape and size. It is a blue velvet pouch with a golden cord secured around the mouth. This here is going to the Great Library of Averhold. Do not open it. Do not allow it to fall into other hands. And this here, and he pulls out a map from his pouch, and he unfurls it and lays it on the table. This is a map of southern Solent. Now, what you will notice about this map is that it has several spots located on it that aren't labeled. And for those of you at home, these are the spots that are in purple on this map. And I realize I have 1,000,001 windows open for you to view, so I do apologize. But the real map that the players are seeing is much smaller. Let me just exit out of all these. There we go. And pull that back up for you. There we go. What some of the agents working for the Montrose Association have found is that these areas have had suspicious activity that may lead to a danger to the public. Now, whether or not these activities are related to the faction within the Omtari clergy, we don't know. And neither do the agents. They don't know the true nature of the Montrose Association. Your other task will be to investigate as many of these points of interest as you can before the Averhold Games in 3 weeks. We must make sure that the Averhold Games go off without a hitch, and that if this cult is involved somehow, they do not succeed in whatever their plans are. Understood?
Of course.
Understood.
I think we can do that.
Yep.
And the third and final task. I'm sure by now you have all noticed my associate here, and he directs your attention towards Rathbone. Rathbone needs to go to his rest. However, if we were to dispatch him in this form, his soul would be destroyed. We don't want that to happen. We lost track of the necromancer who raised him from the dead, and we would like you to track him down and bring him to justice. And hopefully through that, we will find a way to allow him to rest. Understood?
Is it possible that this necromancer is at one of these locations?
It is indeed possible. The group that we had tracking him down were all slain.
Ah,
Yes. So we had lost track of where he was.
My condolences, sir.
Do we have his last known whereabouts? Like where they were tracking him to when they all were apparently dispatched?
He was somewhere around the town of Heron.
around the town of... Say the name again, please.
Heron.
Ah, is that the one between H and J?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Heron.
But
Okay.
that was months ago. He may not even be in southern Solent, but if you find him, dispatch him, find his research, and see if there's a way that we can return my friend here. And he looks to be getting a little bit choked up to his peaceful and eternal rest. Rathbone nods.
With pleasure, sir.
Definitely, we can do that.
I would see to it personally. I owe a debt to him, after all.
Rathbone gives a thumbs up.
He returns the thumbs up.
Rathbone
Nervously thumbs up back.
Rathbone claps. Everybody's paying attention to him. He likes this. Rathbone is acting up for company. All right, then. You'll find your exit out here through this door. And it's at that moment that a stone slab slides out of the way, revealing just like the first glimpses of sunlight. It's about dawn. And you can tell that this is in a small mausoleum. Judging by the crypt, not the crypt, the other coffins like embedded into the walls of this mausoleum.
Okay.
In the meantime, be sure that you do not take this path. And he highlights the path that our viewers at home will see in red here, that leads through Edgewood and Hillsfoot, all the way to Witt and Averhold. This is the path that I'm going to be taking. There are eyes on me always. This place, this crypt, is secure. Everywhere outside, not so much. If we are to encounter each other on these roads, then it's very likely they will know that you are an associate of mine. Understood?
Understood.
I will see you in Averhold in 3 weeks then. And with that, he gets up from the table and he exits out the other door, the one that you guys came in through, and the door closes behind him. So you're left with a map and a fine pouch with an unknown object in it, and a mission to kill a necromancer.
And a tired undead Knoll.
And a tired undead Knoll. He's actually seeming rather exuberant. He doesn't get company, you feel.
At this point, Holly stands up and says, "Well, I'm ready for a drink." And then she starts to shuffle towards the door.
Agreed.
Adults really like
Star has
alcohol,
already
don't
left
they?
the tomb.
Yes, a rest would be nice.
And with that, we have ended this reenactment of the crypt scene. So good job, everybody, and thank you for participating in this reenactment of this very important, pivotal scene that sets up the opening of this whole campaign.
Woo!
Ooh,
We did it, guys! We did it, guys! 4 more weeks of it. Wait, no.
We got it in one. All right.
Like, honestly, if I'm going to miss anything from like the original recording, it's specifically like Holly's whole exchange.
I know
It's,
it was really good.
It was so good, and I wish that had been preserved.
I know,
I
but
don't even remember what I said that was so funny.
it was like big air quotes, small hands, or something like that. It
And
was
just kind of like this. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
fuck this shit, I'm out. All right, I'm ending the recording now.